Welcome to 49 Sports Games, and we're back in 1970, the Montreal Forum, the Boston Bruins ready to take on the Montreal Canadiens. I'm going to do a bit of a playthrough, but it's going to be a slow playthrough so I can show you how the game works. And I just did a random setup, so I haven't pre-selected any of the game action or the ice action cards, so I don't know what's coming. We're just going to randomly turn them over and go through each card so you get a better feel for how this game plays. Okay, the teams are ready, everything's set up, and away we go. So looking at strategies, Boston, they're going to be playing pass out with their defensemen active, and they're going to be playing dump and chase with their forwards. Montreal are also going to be playing pass out with their D-men. They are going to be playing pass in with their forwards active. So we'll see how that all plays out. Everything's laid out. The way the game starts is you're going to turn over a game action deck card and look at the top row, which is the face-off in the neutral zone. In this case, the home team wins the face-off. So we move this over here because the home team has just won the face-off. So it was Jean Beliveau out for Montreal. His face-off rating is a 9. He was up against Phil Esposito, whose face-off rating was an 8. But in this case, neither of the ratings came in. It was just the home team wins the face-off. Now it says, if the visitor is playing safe, home gains control in the neutral zone. Well, Boston's not playing safe. We're just at the start of the game. That is one of the strategies that you can put into play later on in the game, or trying to protect a lead, that kind of thing. So now else, because the visitor is not playing safe, home controls, and they're going to move into the attack zone, and they're going to get a chance to create. So create is on the next card. You only ever take one action from one game action card. So you're going to flip it over for the create. And the create here says if defender have momentum or if they're playing aggressive. So momentum comes after you score a goal at even strength. Or if you're playing aggressive, again, that's one of the options. You can play aggressive once per period. It's the highest amount of risk reward. But we're at the start of the game. Another team's doing that. And this is asking the defender, Boston in this case, if they're doing that. And they're not. So you go down to the else. The puck possession team, which is Montreal, they maintain control in the attack zone. So we go to create again. So they weren't able to make anything happen. So they're going to turn the next create card over and see what comes of it. Now this card here, again, there's a 10 there. That's for end-to-end hockey for using timing. This one now says Montreal maintain possession, go to chance. So they haven't been able to make anything happen, but they're maybe wearing Boston down a little bit in their own end. And so now we're going to go to chance. And the chance says, again, the 10 you ignore. Pass goes to the forward who takes a shot from the slot. The hockey stick takes a shot from the slot, and the F, which I've gone over in a couple other videos, is this central row on the game board up here. We got the forwards, forward defense, and defense. And you're going to look to the first cell to the right of the cubes along the forward line. In this case, it's the center. So the pass goes to the center, who needs to have a shoot rating of 7+, and Jean Beliveau's shoot rating is a 9. So he passes that. If he didn't, it would rebound okay. So we'll move this over. So Beliveau is going to take a shot from the slot. His shot rating is a 4. Gerry Cheevers is a 7, because I rolled prior to the game. You roll a D12. If it's a 1 to 2, he could be shaky. 11 to 12, he could be a little more solid. In this case, he was just a good. And so it's a 7 versus a 4. And so we roll them up, and we see what we get here. Well, it's not within Gerry Cheevers' range, and it's also not within Jean Beliveau's range. So it's outside of both. When it's outside of both, that means there's an okay rebound. So you flip over the next game action card, and it asks, if the goalie has a rebound rating of 4, and Gerry Cheevers does, he has a rebound rating of 5, he holds on for a face-off. So all that action so far, and we got one shot on net for Montreal for Jean Beliveau. Gerry Cheevers makes a save. Top lines are still out there, and it's a face-off in the Boston end. So Beliveau and Esposito will go at it in the face-off circle. And now you turn over a new game action card. And the second row is the face-off in the AD. AD stands for attack defend. So the face-off is in the attack defend zone. For Boston, they're defending. Montreal, they're attacking. And it says the defender wins the face-off. So again, the ratings didn't come in on this face-off. It just means that Phil Esposito wins the face-off and they control in their own end. So anytime a team has control of the puck in their own end or in the neutral zone, that's when you go to an ice action card. Anytime you have possession in the attack zone, that's when you're going to come down and it's going to tell you to create or chance. And if it doesn't, then you always default to create. In this case, Boston has possession. They're in their own end. So we're going to turn over one of these ice action cards. And this one here, we got a couple of options. You have to see if the team is playing pass in or they're playing dump and chase. So the Bruins are obviously going to move the puck out to the neutral zone, and they are playing dump and chase. And it says here that the puck possession, so Boston dumped the puck in. If Montreal has 2 players on the ice with a takeaway of 8 or more. So we'll look and see who they've got on the ice. They got the first line out here, and Beliveau is a 9, Cournoyer is an 8, and if you look down at the defenseman, J.C. Tremblay and Guy Lapointe are both 10. So they've got 4 out of the 5. So they definitely have more than 2 with a takeaway of 8. It says they gain control. So Montreal takes control and they move to the attack zone. So a little back and forth to these top lines. And they get a chance now to create again. If they didn't have 2 with a takeaway of 8, then you go down to this or section, or if not 8 plus, and then you follow what's going on there. But Montreal did. So we're going to turn over a game action card and go to create. If Montreal's forward, so remember how we selected the forward, so it's the next one along the forward line after the cube. So in this case, it's the left winger. The left winger on the ice is Jacques Lemaire. So if Montreal's Jacques Lemaire has a pass assist or a create rating of 7 or more, his pass assist of 9, create of 10, he definitely passes that test. So he's going to pass now to the high shoot, the player with a high shoot, who will take a shot from the slot. The stick is take a shot and from the slot. So the high shoot is, you look down the column of the shoot and you see who's got the highest. So Lemaire and Cournoyer are both 10. Beliveau's a 9. You have to look at the defense too, because sometimes they could have the high shoot, and Guy Lapointe's a 7, J.C. Tremblay's a 4. So they're tied. Lemaire and Cournoyer are both 10s. So normally you would roll to see which one's going to take the shot. But in this card here, it says he passes. So Lemaire had a pass assist or create rating. So he, Jacques Lemaire, passes to Yvon Cournoyer, who's going to take a shot from the slot. So Cournoyer's shot from the slot rating is a 5. Gerry Cheevers still is going to be a 7 because it's not off a rebound, it's just a straight shot. So we roll these up, and what do we get? Well, it's not in either range again. So Cournoyer rolled a 20, so he didn't get much on that at all, but Cheevers still couldn't handle it because his rating or the roll of 9 is outside his rating of 1 to 7. So that's another okay rebound. So we're going to turn over the next game action card and look at rebound okay. If the goalie's rebound rating is 5 plus, Gerry Cheevers is. Boston gets control in their own end. So the Bruins take control in their own end after that shot by Cournoyer. And so now you would go to an ice action card. Well, we've already exhausted this one. You only take 1 action from the ice action card. So now we go to the new ice action card, which means we go to a shift change. So for Boston, we move to their second line. We'll move to their second pairing defense. Same with Montreal. And it's just that quick to change lines. And so Boston has possession in their own end. We go to the ice action card. And first thing we see is there could be a penalty. So you're going to roll a D6. And I've got one here. This is a double D6. I just like the way it rolls a little better. That's for a whole nother discussion on rolling dice and especially D6s. I think there's a reason why APBA came up with a shaker, to make sure you get a good random roll. So anyway, we'll roll here and it's a 4. So it is within the 4. So there's a potential penalty on the play. We'll see how that plays out here in just a second. But first of all, Boston gets to make a play on this ice action card. So they're either playing pass out or clear, and they are playing pass out, and their defensemen are active. Let's see if that comes into play here. So it says the puck possession is playing pass out, and their defenseman, so we look and see it's going to be the right D, and for Boston, that is Don Orey down over here. If his puck move is 10 plus, and guess what it is? He has a 10 plus. So they are going to move all the way into the Montreal end, and now they get a chance opportunity. So we flip over a game action card and look at chance, and it says the pass goes to the left D from out. So Ted Green is going to take a shot, and notice how it doesn't say that he passes to the lefty from out. It's just a pass. So it's a random pass, and so Ted Green's going to take a shot from out. So Green's rating is a 2. Phil Muir ended up in goal for Montreal in this game. He also rolled a good. So his rating is a 6. So it'll be a 1 to 6. Actually, I always like to leave this dice here as a reminder that we had to resolve that penalty. So Green for a 2, Phil Muir a 6. So we roll it up, and it's a 14 for Ted Green, well outside his. And Phil Muir's, he just got enough of a, not a very good shot, and we're going to go with another rebound okay. So we flip this over. If the goalie rebounding of 8 or more, he would hang on. He's not 8, he's a 4. So Boston maintains control of the rebound, or they control the rebound. They get a chance opportunity, so we go to another chance. This says the shot is blocked and goes out of play for a face-off in the attack-defend zone. So we move this to the face-off. Now we're going to resolve for the penalty. So we grab the penalty chart, and we're going to roll on the penalty chart. So the first thing we're going to do is go down this blue column here to see who the penalty is on. And so we're going to roll a D12 to find out which row. And then sometimes we need to see which player it is, and that's what the D6 is for. So what we'll do is we'll roll them up. And it's an 8, row 8, which is the home team. And 1 is the center. So potential penalty is on Pete Mahovlich. And you look at his penalty rating is a 12. So now what we're going to do is we're going to roll on this next column here and see what the penalty is going to be, and I rolled a 5. So you go to row 5. So it says here if his penalty rating was less than or equal to 1, you can see a couple of Montreal Canadiens are. Jacques Lemaire is, Liam Rochefort is, J.C. Tremblay is. Then there would just be no penalty. But in this case, it is a penalty on Pete Mahovlich. And if I would have rolled an 11 or 12, I would have re-rolled down this column here, which could have meant there might have been some more extracurricular activities out there. But in this case, there wasn't. So it's just going to be a 2-minute penalty on Pete Mahovlich. So I'm going to take this little tiny dice here and set it on Pete Mahovlich because he's going to go off for 2 minutes. So now, how do you deal with who's on the ice for special teams? Well, we've got these charts all set up here. The Bruins are going to their power play, so always put their number 1 unit out. And Montreal will put their number 1 unit out, but guess what? Pete Mahovlich is in the penalty box, so he's not going to go out. Jean Beliveau will come out instead for him. So Beliveau will be out with Mark Tardif, J.C. Tremblay, and Guy Lapointe. And it's just that easy to set up for the special teams if you have these charts set up. Or you can actually have the players, you just use these little tokens for who's on the ice. So in this case, it would be Beliveau and Mark Tardif. And it's got it listed down right here what their rating is. So 5 is the highest rating for short man. So the Pete Mahovlich, if he wasn't in the penalty box, and he would be out with Mark Tardif. But it's just easier to have these special teams charts out there. Okay, so the way this is going to work now is we've got this Quick Decks Hockey one-man advantage card. That's a mouthful. So how this is going to work is we're going to just start off. There's no face-offs to worry about. All you're going to do is flip a card over and go through the action of it. And each one of these cards is going to be 30 seconds of action. So it says power play has control in the attack zone. If the power plays forward, so the next forward up is a right winger, and the right winger is Kenny Hodge. If his O rate is 11 or more, which it is, he's going to pass to the high shoot from choice location +1. While the high shoot on the ice will be Phil Esposito, his choice would be inside +1, so it's a 1 to 8 versus a 1 to 6 for Phil Muir. See how we do. It's a 15 and a 4. So the 15 is outside of Esposito's range. The 4 is inside Phil Muir's. Muir makes a save. That would be a face-off. And all we're going to do now is turn over the next card. And it says power play has a control in the attack zone again. If they're FD, and so we look down the row of the FD, in this case it's the right winger, and that is Ken Hodge again. We know his O rate is greater than 9. He's going to pass to the high shoot from the slot. So it's almost identical card, except for Esposito is a little further out. He's not in his office. He's a little further out. So his rating now is a 1 to 4 versus Muir's a 1 to 4. We roll it up, and it's a 7 and a 12. So that's outside both. So then you go down and look at the rebound on this card here, and it says if the goalie's rebound of 4, it is, so he holds on the face-off. There was no other rebound. So that's 1 minute of play. So we're going to rotate lines. And we just do it that quickly. And we go into the 2nd minute of the power play. It asks if the power play is 2 players with a pass assist of 10. Well, they sure do. McKenzie, Cashman, Sanderson all do. So they set up nicely in the attack zone. If they have 2 players with a puck move of 11 plus, well, look at that. Their entire line has that. This Bruins team they had such an amazing offensive year that they get great ratings. So it's a little bit odd to see all these. You don't typically, with your second line out there, get these kind of ratings on a second line. If you look at Montreal, they would not have 2 players with a puck move of 11 on their second line. But Boston does. So it's going to be 2 players with a puck move. They get a choice shot. So you just get to choose. And so the highest number for a shot is Johnny McKenzie from in, and that's a 10. So McKenzie is sitting right inside, and can Phil Myre make the save? No, he can't make the save, but it's an 11 and 11. So McKenzie shot, it came so close. Myre just got enough of it. That means there's a rebound. And so the rebound here says power play gets rebound, but they have to regroup in the neutral zone. So that's the end of that card. So we turn over the 4th card. So this will be the final 2 minutes of this power play. And every one of these has been a power play. A lot of them will start off asking about a skill from the short man. But here it's a power play, has control in the attack zone. If anybody on the power play has a pass assist of 12 plus, well, again, they do. Sanderson, Cashman, and McKenzie do. And so you're going to roll if there's more than one. And so we have 3 guys who have a pass assist of greater than 12. So let's roll it up. 1, 2 would be Sanderson, 3, 4 Cashman, 5, 6 McKenzie. It's a 2. So Sanderson then, he's going to pass to another high shoot forward from in. So he was the high shoot. So now he's going to pass it to either Cashman or Johnny McKenzie. They both have the high shoot. I'm going to roll for it. You don't just pick, because you'd always pick McKenzie because he's got the higher number, but run roll for it to see who's actually open. In this case, it's Wayne Cashman is open. So Cashman's going to get a shot from in. So Sanderson feeds it to Cashman. Cashman's rating is a 6. Myre's is a 4. And there's a 2 for Cashman and a 10 for Phil Myre. So Wayne Cashman has a power play goal for the Boston Bruins, and that puts them up 1-0 here in the early stages of the first period. So that's how the power play works. I'm glad we got to see that. And then what you also do is you take off 2 minutes, so 1 card per minute. So because this is your timer, these ice action cards are your timer. So these 2 cards just basically go away. I do have these penalty markers too that you can tuck underneath the cards so you don't lose track. Playing 1970 up into the 90s and that, you can get a lot of penalties happening at the same time. So it's just a way to keep track of it. But there'll be a video on that as well. Okay, let's get back to the action here. So Pete Mahovlich is out of the penalty box. They're going to go back to their top line. Because Boston had their second line, they could go, and this is where you're going to have to decide how you want to play this. Normally, if you've got your top line out, then you want to go to your second line. If you got your second line out, then you go to your third line for the power play. For short man, typically when you come off the short man, unless your number 1 unit was out there, like Beliveau and Lemaire or Cornway were on the ice, then you might want to go to a different line, but else you're just going to default to their first line. And that does a couple of things. It mixes the lines up, so now you don't have the top lines going against each other all the time. And I guess it could be a choice for Montreal. They might want to put their third line out, so when Boston gets up to their top line, they've got Belivau's line out there. So that might be something that Montreal would do. And this is where, solitaire charts can only cover so much. You're going to have to be making some decisions for the teams and how you think they would want to play. And I think Montreal, because Boston would want to play with their best line, Beliveau, Lemaire, Cornway, their best defensive line, or they could do Mahovlich, Tardif, and Redmond out against this Esposito line. That would be another option for Montreal. So you have to make some coaching decisions for both the teams, really, and there will be solitaire charts to help you pick some of the strategies. All right, well, let's carry on. Let's go through one more little segment here. That was a power play goal, so Boston does not get momentum. What I do, if that was an even strength goal, I would put a marker here as a reminder that Boston has momentum until the end of the segment. So you get a couple of minutes of momentum. Okay, we've got Henri Richard and Fred Stanfield on the ice for the faceoff. Both are rated 7. Faceoff's in the neutral zone. Puck comes loose after the faceoff. High takeaway gets control in the neutral zone. Well, high takeaway for Montreal are the 2 defensemen. They're both 10s. And for Montreal, or for Boston, it's Bobby Orr. Bobby Orr is a 12. So Orr gets control of the puck for the Bruins. So they have control in the neutral zone. And remember, if you have control in your own end or neutral zone, then you go to an ice action card. And you flip it over, and it asks if they're playing pass out or clear, and Boston's playing pass out with their forwards active. They do not have their forwards active. They have their defensemen active. So if they're not active, you go down to the Orr. Defender gains control, but their play goes offside. There's going to be a face-off in the neutral zone. So that is how quickly that shift got resolved. Not much happened. All you're going to do is rotate through lines, go back to a face-off in the neutral zone. High-rated wins. So now we finally get the ratings come in. Beliveau's a 9, Esposito's an 8. So Beliveau wins it for Montreal. Tie would go to the home. Face-off win, just going to control in the neutral zone. So then we go to this ice action card. And it's asking about pass in or dump and chase. Well, Montreal is pass in. And it says the defender creates a turnover and they control in the attack zone. So before Montreal, I guess, could even get out of their own end, Boston created a turnover. They have control now in the Montreal zone. If Boston have 2 players with a creative 8, well, they've got all 3 forwards are. Pass goes to the FD. So FD is the left winger. Left winger is Johnny Bucyk for a shot from the slot +2. So he's a 1 to 8. So Bucyk is an 8. Phil Mears a 4. Here's a shot from, Phil Mears a 6. There's a 5. So Bucyk gets a good shot. Phil Mears makes a great save too, because now it's both in. So now we have a rebound good. And rebound good says Boston gets control of the rebound. Their center is on the doorstep. Phil Esposito, what a surprise. He's right on the doorstep. He's going to get a shot from in. So now this is a rebound shot. So now Phil Mears' rebound rating is only 1 to 4. Esposito is a 1 to 7. So 7 for Esposito, a 4 for Mears, and it's a 3 for Esposito and an 8 for Phil Mears. So the rebound, Phil Esposito right where he liked to be, and he jams home the rebound, and the Bruins just that quickly have a 2-0 lead over the Montreal Canadiens. Okay, let's see here. Let's carry on for just a little bit longer, because now Boston has momentum. So I'm going to put that there just as a reminder that the Bruins have momentum. We're going to do line changes. And here we go with the face-off. High-rated wins. Mahovlich, Sanderson. So Sanderson wins it for the Bruins. And they just control in the neutral zone. If they are playing aggressive, they're not playing aggressive. Boston, they have momentum, but it doesn't ask that. If they're playing pass in, they're not pass in, they're dump and chase. So they dump the puck into the Montreal end. If Montreal's center, because they're the next FD, and that's Pete Mahovlich, if his takeaway is a 10 and it's not, it's a 9. So Boston gains control in the attack zone. They're going to get a chance to try and create. If any D-men, if the Pupo D-men are active, and they are, so they're trying to pinch in, well, defender Montreal causes a turnover. They gain control and they move quickly into the Boston end, and they get a chance opportunity. So we flip it over, and now it's asked if the defender high forward block is 8+. They are not. Sanderson and Cashman are both a 7, so they aren't unable to block the shot. So Montreal has control. It asks if the center's shoot rating is 5 or more. Mahovlich is a 9. He's going to take a shot from the slot. So Mahovlich is a 1 to 5 versus the Cheevers is a 1 to 7. And it's a 10 for Mahovlich and a 3 for Cheevers. So Jerry Cheevers makes a save, hangs on for the face-off. And that takes us through the first segment of the first period of the game. So I move that to the side. You're going to switch lines, and then you're going to adjust strategies. So it'll be a solitaire chart. I don't have them finished yet that you're going to roll on, or you can just choose what the strategies would be. Now, a couple things on strategies is you can only play your defenseman active twice in the two of the three segments. Same with the forwards. You can have them active 2 of the 3 segments. Pass in and pass out are also limited to being able to do 2 of the 3 segments. And the reason for that is if you are using all that energy because you're playing pass in, you got your forwards active all the time, you're going to run out of energy. So it's just a way to try and mimic the fact that you just can't go like aggressive and just play flat out the entire game, because that's just not the way hockey works. Okay, well there's another video for you, kind of getting closer to showing more of a full game. I don't think I'll play a full game because that would take an hour. But coming up soon, I will play through a game kind of at my speed so you can just see how the game flows. But we got to see a little bit of stuff here tonight. We got a power play goal, and you got to see a few things. So anyway, stay tuned for more videos coming up while I work to get this game finalized and out the door. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time on 49 Sports Games.